big rumor has finally been debunked this week, but we also have some new ones regarding Sony, a sequel to one of this year's biggest releases, and a lot of confirmations for the Gamescom opening night live. And yes, this is a bit of a different voice for the weekly Sunday video, as Jordan is currently on holiday, so Tom and me, Dennis, will be taking over for this week. And one of the week's stranger announcements was definitely the re-release of a very beloved game, Red Dead Redemption. Because I think a ton of us were disappointed by this reveal, as the big announcement was expected to be a remaster of the game for current-gen consoles. Instead, the game is being re-released on Switch and PlayStation 4 on August 17th, with backwards compatibility to also make it accessible on PS5. According to IGN, that also means it will run no higher than 30 frames per second like the other available versions of the game. But yeah, I think this means we can safely say that that rumored remaster isn't coming anytime soon, if at all. Which checks out with earlier reports that it was scrapped by Rockstar Insider Test 2 in July of last year. They also stated that the poor reception of the GTA Trilogy remaster might be a reason behind that decision, which did cause quite a lot of discontent with the players, but this new Red Dead announcement isn't going over much better, considering the fact that they're asking you to pay $50 for a game that is over 13 years old. IGN has quoted Take-Two CEO Strauss Zelnick saying that he believes that $50 is the commercially accurate price for it, while also remaining tight-lipped about a potential PC release. What is worth noting is that the Undead Nightmare DLC is also included in that price tag, which in my opinion was a pretty damn good DLC. But yeah, while it is a Red Dead related announcement, it certainly wasn't as grand or exciting as some of us were expecting. Even still, I think we can agree that 2023 is already an amazing year for games. Although commercially, I don't think there are many games this year that will come close to Hogwarts Legacy. And good news, as more and more hints are appearing that a sequel is already in the works. As reported by Hogwarts Legacy News in an interview for the Unreal Engine website, Jose Villeta, director of software engineering for the game, mentioned the following: "We are looking forward to Unreal Engine 5 for future projects, knowing that we have a great foundation in place already." Which even sounds like the studio might have multiple plans for the future, all to be developed on Unreal Engine 5. A new job listing for a junior software engineer also states, "Join the team behind the blockbuster open world action RPG Hogwarts Legacy as we create what's next," as reported by Xfire. Which means that the studio's already working on their next project. And again, considering how the game hit 15 million copies sold in May this year, I think Avalanche's next game is highly likely to be a sequel. We know the team had many plans that didn't make it into the final version of the game, like exploration with companions thanks to data mining. On top of that, there are tons of narrative hints that could set up a direct sequel if that is what the team is going for, although my personal hope is still that we get to visit a wizarding school that is not Hogwarts. I'll by the way leave a link to videos we made on both of those topics in the video description. Either way, I'm excited to see what the future holds for Avalanche, and it sounds like they're already hard at work. Before we go over more exciting news, if you enjoyed the video so far, then leave a like as it really helps us out, and subscribe as we have one of these Sunday news vids every week. Now on to some more confirmations, because as of this week, we know a lot more about what Gamescom is going to look like. We already learned that Xbox has some big plans, but we got 2 new confirmations for the opening night live. The first, perhaps unsurprising announcement is Alan Wake 2. With the game set to release on October 17th, this is one of the final opportunities to put it in the spotlight. I'm still excited to learn more. So far the Mindplay stuff they've shown where you can review evidence and connect clues looks really interesting. But I think the second confirmed appearance is even more exciting, as we learned that Black Myth Wukong will also show up. This action RPG, based on the stories of Sun Wukong from Journey to the West, has looked increasingly impressive with each showing. There's some crazy attacks and magic powers at your disposal, and the enemy and environmental variety is very impressive too. But there's still a lot we don't know as well, like the release date for instance, so I'm hoping we might see that here. And on top of that, there is one more unconfirmed game we actually might see at Gamescom, isn't that right, Tom?
Yes, that's right, Dennis. It seems Warner Brothers might be announcing something Lego Harry Potter related during the show, according to a leak from their South African Instagram account. This image popped up on their feed, showing the Harry Potter minifig and an August date, before promptly being pulled down. The date shown, August 25th, would coincide with the 3rd day of Gamescom. Now, revealing a game halfway through Gamescom might be a bit of a stretch, but rumors around a new LEGO Harry Potter game have been going around for quite some time, so it's not that unlikely a proper announcement could be coming soon. The previous LEGO Harry Potter games have been bundled for last-gen consoles almost 7 years ago, with the series going dormant since then. The last LEGO game was 2022's LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, pulling in at least 5 million copies sold. It's very likely Warner Bros. Would like to try a Skywalker Saga-esque retelling of the Wizarding World movies as well, even more so after the success of Hogwarts Legacy. So yeah, we will probably get more LEGO Harry Potter at some point, and with some luck, we might hear something about that in the next couple of weeks. Circling back to a brand that we know won't be at Gamescom, it's PlayStation itself. While they likely won't have any big announcements for this entire summer, it seems we finally have some footage of that long-rumored PlayStation 5 Slim. Andrew Marmo, formerly with Video Games Chronicle, posted a leaked image of what would be the PS5 Slim on Twitter, which was later followed by an entire video of said console. An Australian engineer called BWE on Twitter shared some footage of the entire casing the PlayStation 5 Slim should be housed in. Now, mind you, this is all still very unofficial and it could still be a prototype, but it's said that this version is about 5 centimeters shorter than the regular PlayStation 5, while not being that much thinner. There's also a secondary USB-C port on the front, and the console does seem to sport a smaller power supply unit, albeit not a lower energy one. This could indicate this slim version won't be cutting down any performance from the base model PS5. At this point, there's also only one version of this slim console, which according to the video footage does come with a Blu-ray drive. This might actually be that detachable disc drive that had been rumored before. It's possible that the drive isn't a standalone solution, but rather something you can attach directly to the side of the slim console. This is all stuff for some pretty hefty speculation, so yeah, we're really curious what you guys think of this leaked model. Do let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. In other PlayStation news, a new cloud streaming beta for PlayStation 5 has officially kicked off, with support for PlayStation 5 cloud streaming in up to 4K resolution. When it launches in full, this service should let premium members start up PlayStation Plus games, game trials, as well as their own digital PS5 library without downloading the files first. Sony already hinted at bringing more games to the cloud streaming service, including those from other generations. It's all still pretty unclear whether these streaming beta tests have any impact on the plans surrounding the Project Q handheld, you know, the little streaming device that Sony unveiled a couple of months ago. Project Q is primarily still a remote play device, so it can run games from your PlayStation 5, but couldn't do that directly from the cloud, even though that would make the handheld slightly more interesting, but we'll have to wait and see what Sony does with cloud streaming in the future. Turning over to another Japanese gaming company, Square Enix is supposedly not been doing too great. Their share price dropped by nearly 15% after a recent earnings release, in which they stated that Final Fantasy XVI didn't meet its high-end expectations. The 16th Final Fantasy has sold a staggering 3 million copies in less than a week's time, but that apparently isn't enough for Square. Keeping with their tradition to be disappointed in sales numbers, they apparently had hoped way more for Final Fantasy XVI, even though that exclusively released on the PlayStation 5 with a way smaller install base than the PlayStation 4 originally had. For reference, Final Fantasy VII sold 3.5 million copies in about 10 days, even though that launched on the PlayStation 4, which had a massive install base at that time. So yeah, all in all, it seems Square is kind of longing for the days of Final Fantasy 15. When that game launched, it sold 5 million units in less than a day, making it the fastest selling entry in the entire franchise. The 15th installment of Final Fantasy was coincidentally a multi-platform release, and we have seen Square buddying up with Xbox again as of late. So yeah, maybe Square is reassessing their wants and needs, especially when it comes to console availability for their games. That's about it for my end of the updates. I'll throw the video back over to you, Dennis.
Alright, thanks for the updates. For next week, we might already be looking forward to some of the titles that will be showing up at Gamescom. And we'll of course have another video up on Sunday going over all the big news. Subscribe to not miss it, and it will be awesome if you could leave a like on the video as well. You can also watch the previous one going over some AC Red leaks and some unexpected news for Jedi Survivor by clicking on the screen. We'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.